In the wake of the Israeli response to the Hamas invasion of October 7th, we've seen the global rise of anti-Semitism. Anti-Semitism has plagued university and college campuses across the United States and other places in the world, to the extent that Jewish students feel fearful attending campuses, fearful for their safety, hiding their identity, their Magen Davids, taking off their kippot, and the like. This is also filtered through to workplaces and even on government levels, with governments around the world calling for ceasefires and calling for sanctions against the Jewish state for taking actions to defend ourselves. So what is supposed to be our response as Jews when we see this global rise of anti-Semitism, when it makes it hard and difficult for us to express our identity openly? So I'd like to share an insight which I shared with my community on the last days of Pesach. On the last day of Pesach in the Haftarah, we allude to an incident that happened nearly 2,500 years ago, in the times of King Chizkiyahu. Chizkiyahu was the king in Yerushalayim, in the Judean capital, and they were attacked by the Assyrian Empire under the leadership of Sancherib. They were attacked by a massive army, a huge army that surrounded them and threatened to destroy them. The army was numbered in its millions. The day that occurred was Erev Pesach, the time when the Jewish people were bringing their Korban Pesach in the Beis HaMikdash. With sentries on the walls, they would have been well aware of the pending destruction that would meet them the following morning, seeing a sea of enemy armies with hostile intentions just outside of their walls, ready to attack. The Jewish people continued on with their service of the Korban Pesach, and they sat down that night to eat from the Korban Pesach at the Pesach Seder. And one would think that they would have done so in a somber mood, in fear, in panic, with worry, sadness, and fear about what was going to be. But they did not do so. The Malbim tells us that they sat down that night, and as they ate the Pesach Seder, and they sang the Hallel, the songs of praise of Hashem for His miraculous salvations of the past, they sang with tremendous enthusiasm and passion. And the greater energy they placed into their singing, that is when Hashem caused a great miracle, that an angel went in the Assyrian camp and slew 185,000 captains of the army, and the rest of the army fled in disarray. The Jewish people merited a miraculous salvation. And I think the lesson from this story is very, very powerful. The Jewish people were not afraid, they were not intimidated. They turned to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, they turned to Hashem with absolute trust. They sang the song, a song of pride, a song that celebrates victory, a song that celebrates salvation, trust in Hashem that He has done miracles and He will continue to do miracles. They did not hide their Jewishness, they did not cease their observance, but on the contrary, they strengthened their observance. They turned to Hashem with greater vigor, and they sang as if nothing was happening in their world. Nothing would dampen their pride in being Jews and being able to fulfill that mitzvah. And Hashem rewarded that pride, that the prouder they were, the stronger they sang their song. That is when Hashem brought forth miracles. There was a video clip going around last week of the Chabad of Columbia campus, that they rented a party bus, and they drove the party bus to nearby where the protesters against Israel were protesting, and they pumped out Jewish music full blast and had Jewish children dancing, Jewish youths dancing on that bus to express their pride that we will not be intimidated. We are proud of our identity, we are proud of our people, and we'll stand strong. This is the answer to the rise of global anti-Semitism. It is not by hiding our Jewishness, but on the contrary, connecting more to our Jewishness and doing so proudly, loudly. We will sing our song in the face of all adversity, and Be'ezras Hashem, we too in our times will see miracles with the victory over our enemies and the return of our captives.